So I think it's time to move on to our main event here.
Yeah, finally, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So we are going to be reviewing Howl from Beyond the Fog. There's a really cool little Kickstarter film. Uh, it started off with just them making off a very, very small puppet and a very small armature. And they shot some test footage and showed it off at a convention just to kind of drum up excitement. And then it moved on to doing the full movie and doing the Kickstarter.
Yeah, I mean, I was really surprised when I heard it was going to be all puppets too. This movie is all puppets, and it's actually really well done. I mean, it reminds me of almost not quite, but Team America kind of ish done, or people would say the Thunderbirds back in the day. The way
Yeah,
it's done, they're not quite marionettes. They're
no, they're
definitely not
not.
marionette
They're
puppets.
they're actually
But
they're giant silicone uh, puppets, so they're able to control the arm movements and things like that, and the head tilts, and it made it look a little bit more natural in the movement.
yes,
The faces, they're puppets. You can only do so much with the faces.
yeah, the faces were a little creepy, but it
Yeah,
wasn't distracting. The movie was great.
yeah,
It was good. It was good.
yeah. I mean, the only people that really got faces in the movie were the bad guys,
Yeah.
because the main characters both had their faces almost obscured. E.G. just had his hair over his face, and
Takiri.
yeah, Takiri. I'm
She
sorry.
just had a blindfold.
Yeah. Um, One thing that was really cool with the behind the scenes was I knew that Nebula, which is the monster, looked absolutely fantastic, but I didn't realize how big these puppets were.
Oh,
Uh,
they're big.
yeah, I thought that they were little. Like I thought the people were going to be little puppets because that's how it looks in the movie. But the puppets were about like almost human sized. They were using for this movie.
Wow. Wow. I actually didn't know they were that big. I knew the nebula itself was a huge puppet. I didn't realize the people were that big.
Yeah, yeah, the people were pretty big.
Mm.
Maybe they were like 3 foot or 4 foot, but
Hey, that's still big.
they were
It's
big. In the movie they come across as very small. Maybe
yes,
that's
they
because
almost
they're
come across like little hand puppets
yes, they
almost.
do.
Yes.
But in watching the filming, I was like, wow, these things are actually really big, and the sets were a decent size, especially for the low budget of the movie.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. The Kickstarter was mainly I don't even think the Kickstarter was to fund the movie. I think it was just to fund the the puppet for Nebula, the
Yeah,
monster itself.
because
It was strictly just the monster.
yeah, the Kickstarter didn't raise a whole lot of money. It was only like I think it was like 11 grand when you did the conversion.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so it's uh
It's still an $11,000 puppet.
yeah, and they had to do uh uh no, it was actually a suit.
Oh, sweet, yes.
It's mostly a puppet though, but for the walking scenes they actually had so that somebody could go in and actually walk with it, but then the whole head is a complete puppet.
Yeah,
It was really awesome to see it get built. So I guess we'll go over the plot and then give our thoughts.
yeah. We'll go with the plot. Yeah.
All right. So it first starts off with our protagonist Eg, and he's on a train ride into Kyushu, which is one of I think it's like the second or third largest island in Japan.
Yes. Yeah.
And
It's definitely an island in Japan, but the hometown is a little tiny town though. It's not. Kyushu's not like a city. They don't give a specific
yeah,
name
yeah,
to the town or anything. It's a
yeah. No,
little
they
lake
don't.
town. I tried to actually look on a map, and I felt like I didn't see a lake from
Anywhere on
Google
the island,
Maps.
anywhere
I
on the
saw
island.
they had little bays and stuff, but it must have been a really small lake.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't the biggest lake in the movie. It looked like they Nebula fit in the lake, and there was
Like
a
as an
small
island.
walking
Yeah,
area. Yeah,
yeah.
Um,
Anyway,
so
back to the plot. Back to the plot.
anyway, he's taking the train ride in, and he's telling the audience that he's going to go visit his mother for the first time because his twin brother had just died.
Who he
They
had
don't,
never, by the way.
yeah, who we never
He
meet,
never met his brother, and he
never met his
was
mom.
separated from his mother at birth
Yeah,
for
they
some
don't give
reason.
any
They don't
explanation.
go too into detail about that. Yeah, it's a little
A,
weird.
a lot of the family dynamic in this movie is implied, or they give
Yes,
little hints.
the implication.
Yeah. Um, Gets into the house, and he's like the new head of the house, kind of, but it's his mom who's really running everything. Um, he like, it's so funny because like Takira is supposed to be like hidden, and he like, it's only a half-hour long movie, but he like instantly finds her in her little
Yeah,
in her room.
the Japanese houses from like back in the day. They had like paper doors that just slid.
Yeah,
How are you hiding a person? It takes place in 1909. This movie, so there's no technology really. The guns are like one shot
muskets.
guns that are
Yeah,
used in this movie. They're using basically fireworks and cannons to battle this monster eventually. But yeah, he finds his blind cousin who his mother's been hiding in secret. She's supposed to be dead,
yeah,
so she's supposed to be kept a secret. What happened was is her mother blinded her when she was a child. Then her mother committed suicide. I don't know how the mother blinded her. They don't really explain it.
so
Um, there's a scene later on in the movie that I
yeah.
think somewhat explains it,
Yeah,
but
I was gonna go over that when we got there because it's not
well,
very well explained, and you kind of
no,
have to
explain yourself.
use some of the context clues. Very strange the way they, but it's all to build up to the mystery of what's going on in this
Yeah.
town.
My assumption is that EG was sent away because the mother had to watch the Kiri, and she didn't want to have to watch three kids, so she sent the son away. That's my sort of assumption here, but
Yes, that actually does make perfect sense. I actually didn't catch on to that, but that makes perfect sense. Even on two watches, you have to kind of put pieces together to understand the whole full family dynamic of this movie. Um, anyway, he goes to sleep that night after having a brief conversation with her, and he kind of hears her moving at night. So he follows her to the lake where she is just chilling with Nebula.
she's singing him a song. That's how he heard her. Is she was humming her way to the lake, and she's sort of singing Nebula lullaby, kind of.
Yeah. So he kind of just they don't explain whether he leaves or if he passes out or what exactly happens. It just cuts to the next morning.
Yeah, he wakes up and he hears his mom arguing with a couple of men who are trying to convince her to sell her house. And I believe she kind of owns
The lake.
the lake almost. Her mother,
Yes.
the mother owns the lake. It's her family's worship grounds, is I believe what she referred to it as.
Yes.
So he kind of does nothing about that. They're basically saying there's no more head of house because the son died, but they're kind of disregarding his existence, or they don't know he exists yet because he just showed up there the day before.
Yeah.
Um, so after he overhears that argument, he eats his breakfast, and then he confronts Takiri about Nebula, saying that he followed her the night before, and he wanted to know why he's going to go see her, why she goes to see him and sing to him. So she offers to take him to meet Nebula. So that night, he follows her to the lake, and he doesn't see Nebula necessarily. She covers his eyes and has him reach out and touch Nebula on the nose, give him a little boop. And by the time she removes her hands, Nebula has disappeared back into the fog.
But the
And
bad guy
while
song.
yes,
Bum, bum, bum.
the bad guy was staking out the house for some reason, and he discovered the existence of Takiri, the existence of Nebula, who had in the past attacked. The movie actually opens with this. We missed this part. The movie opens with Nebula attacking two men on a bridge, and then it skips years ahead. So Nebula was sort of like an urban legend for the little village there.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe you can take it from here if you want.
Yeah, so bad guy sees it. They go back, and the bad guys are all talking with each other about what to do. They seem to know about Takiri and who she was and how she's not supposed to be alive. And they kind of basically use that as like, okay, well, we're going to stake out the area and ambush these guys next time we see them. So it cuts to the next day. They're in the house. Ichi's going to go talk with Takira again. And as they're about to leave, they ambush them in the house. And I'm assuming they tie them up and bring them to the lake. They don't show
They
exactly
didn't, they
what the
didn't really seem
restraint
like they were
is.
tied up. They had guns. They had guns. The men had guns. So I think they were
They,
kind of just
they
taken to the lake.
they did, but she couldn't swim. So I'm just
Yeah,
assuming that she was bound somehow
yeah.
because she was unable to swim. So anyway, as they're
Yeah,
bringing
back in the day, not a lot of people swam in the 1900s. I mean, they used to think people were witches if you could swim.
yeah, but they they bring him to the lake, and as they're going there, he's kind of explaining like why they need this water for the dam, and he's blaming the family, and he's saying how she was supposed to be dead, and how they used to sacrifice women by throwing them into the lake for the monster to eat. And he does the same exact thing with Takiri. And that's when we enter this scene that kind of explains a lot of the backstory of why she's supposed to be dead and what happened with her mother and why she has this relationship with Nebula. The way I interpreted it was the Takiri's mother kind of just had Takiri like at a wedlock, and she had these really weird eyes, and she saw weirdly. She didn't see like normal people, almost like watercolors or shadows or something, and it sounded like because the
She had some kind of blindness or partial.
so yeah, but even when the developers were bringing her to the lake, he called her the monster girl,
Yeah.
and which is what the mother referred to her as when she first showed up, saying, "Oh, she has those monster eyes."
Yes.
So I'm assuming there's something wrong with her eyes, and what I'm assuming was that they sent the mother to go sacrifice her at the lake.
Yes. I thought the same thing. I thought she might have got it from lack of oxygen. It did some sort of damage to her eyes to make them even worse and completely blind. I, I'm.
Yeah,
That's sort of the vibe that I got.
yeah. I, I, I actually interpreted it a little different. I thought that the mother purposely blinded her to get rid of her eyes. I
Oh.
thought she plucked her eyes out because she said, "Mom, my
Oh.
eyes hurt,"
Oh.
and that's why she's like, "Oh, because nobody's gonna know it's her because she doesn't have eyes." It's a very open to interpretation movie. I
Yes.
feel
Oh,
like
absolutely.
because they
Absolutely.
don't really explain a lot, and
Yes.
they
They
don't
leave.
show they don't really show you either because
I
this
mean, it's a
sequence is
short
a
movie too.
watercolor.
Yes.
Um, from there, um, Nebula gets really angry that she got thrown into the lake.
Because that's his BFF right there.
Yeah. So he picks her up with his mouth, brings her back to land, and just starts going after these bad guys.
Yeah, they try to shoot him, and that kind of just pisses him off. And they take off running into town, and he goes right after them. And in his path of destruction, he knocks over some paper lanterns, which are lit with flame, and it causes a fire. And besides Nebula just smashing through the village, now you got a burning village too. and he's chasing these guys through the village. Everyone's going nuts, evacuating, screaming, guys ringing bells on the towers. That guy actually survived, I think.
No, no, the
He's
tail hit him.
he, oh yes, the
he,
tail
he,
did hit him. I was like, oh,
it
that
was
guy's
actually a
almost
little
here.
funny. It was a little funny because it looked like he was even like, oh, I made it. And then, like, right before the cut, you just see the tail swing and just demolish his tower.
Yeah, so he chases these guys through the town, and Genji and Takiri follow to try to slow him down or stop him from going on this rampage and killing everybody. And by the time they get to the town, they discover Ichi's mother, and their house has been destroyed. Ichi's mother basically apologizes to Takiri and tells her that she could live free with Ichi now, go do whatever you want, leave leave the town, don't stay there, go with him, live your life. And then it kind of goes to our epic conclusion, our final battle. I don't know if you want to take over for that one.
Yeah, so uh, he's Nebula's rampaging through the city, and then these fireworks start going off and kind of distracts him. He starts going towards it, and the whole time, Eg and Takari are just like running after him.
Yeah,
Um,
like these two little people are gonna stop this giant monster, like a dog on a leash.
yeah. So they finally get up to where he is. He's at where a bridge is, and the bad guys are on a bridge. The developers. Um, for a second, it looked like Takari was kind of soothing him, getting him to calm down, and they shoot him right in the temple with a cannon. And actually knocks him over, which is I
Yes.
was actually very surprised. I thought he was gonna like no sell it and just turn and demolish him, but it actually did do some pretty
Yeah, I
decent
actually thought it was
damage.
like dead for a minute there. I was like, oh man, is this thing gonna get killed? Is
Uh,
Nebula dead?
I mean, he did hit him in the temple. Which, I mean, at least on people is the like the softest spot on the skull. So maybe for monsters too, like that's a weak point.
Yeah.
But he gets up and just starts going towards the bridge. They're firing, and now they're just not doing anything to him. He's angry. He's pissed. All this fog is around him, and he sucks in all the fog and shoots it out at them. And just the bridge is just kind of just half of it is missing. It's an arch bridge, so the middle arch is missing.
Yeah.
The main developer was left alive, and he's yelling at him, and then Nebula just goes down and just eats him.
Crushes them and destroys what's left of the bridge.
Yeah, and then that's basically the ending of the film. Nebula walks off into the distance. EG asks, where is he going? Kari just says he's going home.
Yeah.
He goes,
He's
what
going
about
to
us?
live
And
free.
yeah, what about us? And Takari just goes, we're gonna go live our lives too. And that's the end of the movie. Roll credits.
Yeah. And it was a good movie. Short film. Like I said, they leave a lot open to interpretation. Um, it seems like the mother was apologizing just for at the end for Takari's abuse as a child, and I feel like not like I said, the Nebula was almost an urban legend. So I'm not sure if Takiri was telling the Ichi's mother about her encounters with Nebula, and she just thought she was nuts. So she just kind of put her as a little crazy girl whose mother tried to kill her. Is the way I sort of interpreted it. Like she's not supposed to exist in the first place because she had screwed up eyes. Now
Yeah,
she's crazy because her mother almost killed her, and her mother killed herself. So she's like, this girl doesn't know what she's talking about. She thinks there's a giant lizard living in our lake over here.
yeah. Um. So I mean, I thought that the movie was shot great. It looked
Oh, it's
wonderful.
phenomenal. The shots that they pull off, some of the shots of Nebula that they pull off, the angles, just incredible. They were able to fit so many little sets in, little details, these great little shots. They did fantastic.
Yeah, it was really a just a movie that like you wouldn't see an American film like this. It's
No, no,
so artful. The music was great on it, like the soundtrack. I was very happy with just the way that everything looked on it. As far as the the plot, yeah, it's a half hour movie, so they had to fit a lot into that movie. Um, there wasn't a lot of my one gripe with the movie. This is kind of what I was gonna say. They had to fit a lot of story in there, and whoever did the subtrack for this movie, sometimes they'd put like three sentences up at the same time, and they'd be gone in like 2 seconds.
yeah,
I would a couple times when they were getting really thick into plot, I would have to pause to read the subtitles, and it wasn't like there wasn't time because they had to get to the next line. It was just the title wasn't up there long enough.
no.
That's gonna be my one gripe with the movie. I don't know if that's an SRS thing. I don't know if it's like that on the sub version. I'm imagining it's like that on all the versions. Whoever did the sub track, I think they just needed to give it a little bit more time on it.
Yeah, I don't know what they could have done if they should have spread it out more and put shorter sentences up on the screen quicker.
I don't think it was that because I felt like sometimes you'd flash a line real quick and then there would be no subtitles displayed. So I was just like, oh, they're still talking, but there's no subtitle. It was probably in that previous subtitle and they're just not going over it. I'm like they had like an extra like 3 seconds for the subtitle to be up that I could have finished reading.
You know what might have even worked well for this movie, especially since it was puppets. A dub, a
They
dub.
they could have done a dub.
I mean, it's a lot of money to, I guess, to get more voice actors, but it was. I think it was an extremely dubbable movie.
Oh yeah, because there's no lip flaps and there's only five characters in the whole movie, really.
Yeah, yeah. Not a lot of. No, there's not a ton of talking either.
No,
I mean, we're talking about what's the runtime? Is it like 24 to 34 minutes? What was it?
I
34
know. I
minutes?
think it's
38 minutes?
yeah, I think 38 or something like that. Now, I don't really want to get into that much more. That's basically it.
No, there's nothing. You know what? There's not really anything negative. I mean, you can't even blame the subtitles as a negative,
No,
really.
no,
Yeah.
no, no, no. That's whoever released it. That's their fault. Want to say this directorial debut of special effects legend Daisuke Sato, and I'm just gonna read off some of the movies that he's done special effects on, and it's he did Ultraman Mebius and the Ultra Brothers, Ultraman Max, The Great Yokai War, Gamera the Brave, Godzilla Final Wars, Grand Cesar, which was a Toho Tokusatsu show that looks really awesome. If you ever look up fake bag-in footage on YouTube, that's the show that they took it from. And then GMK, which is probably like the
Top
biggest.
tier.
Yeah,
The one of the most popular Millennium Godzilla movies.
it's
Probably
not
the
one of.
popular
I'd say probably one of the most
in
popular,
general.
but yeah,
Yeah.
besides the original, I'd say
Across all eras. Yeah.
yeah. So and all those movies look great. I love the GMK Godzilla. I think that look just awesome.
Oh no, yeah. I still have that exclusive one from Eternal Con in the bag. I'm always like, do I open it and just display it? Am I gonna sell it? I don't think I'm gonna sell it. Nobody had they only made 10 of them, and it looks. I mean, not 10 of them, 100 of them, and they look great.
Yeah. So he shot this movie, and the just the whole team around it looked like it was like a real passion project.
Yeah, yeah. Because they also did the Foghorn a couple of years earlier, which is sort of like the precursor to this. The Foghorn is a book from, I believe it's the 50s. It's not quite the same story. It's about a monster in the fog, but it's a big inspiration. They say it's inspiration for this. It was an inspiration for I'm trying to blank now. Beast from 20,000 Fathoms, is that it? No.
Could be very similar looking monster.
Yes. But it's a old novel, and it's been an inspiration for a lot of movies. And they did a little project like, years before as a little precursor to this, and yeah, it's it's definitely a big inspiration for this movie. And the other person involved with this movie is, oh, I don't want to butcher this name, Kizo Murashi. I want to say Murashi. He's the
Yes.
sculptor of Nebula. He also has quite the resume. He worked on the Mothra 1961 design for Mothra. He worked on King Kong and Godzilla for King Kong vs. Godzilla in 1962. He helped make Maguma for Gorith, the Matango monsters from Matango, the Gora, Godzilla, and Ghidorah in the Ghidorah three-headed monster. He did Frankenstein and Baragon for Frankenstein Conquers the World, Varan, Gamera, Showa Gamera, Daimajin, Gauss, Yangre, Virus, Titanosaurus, the Pecking Man for the Mighty Pecking Man. What? He's all over the place, all over all these different studios. He is massive in this, and he has always been a modeler, sculptor, and he's never gotten behind the camera. But next year, as long hopefully it's not delayed, there's a movie coming out, Brush of God. It's another short film, and he's going to be making his directorial debut. And I believe Daisuke Sato is also involved with that as well.
Yeah,
So that's going to be another one to look forward to. I'm sure SRS is going to try to get their hands on giving us a physical release of that here in the States.
yeah, I really hope they do. So it looks like they flip flop roles. So on that film, Daisuke Sato is going to be the cinematographer,
Yes.
whereas on the previous film, Kaizo was the cinematographer.
Yes. Yep. I
So
believe the original. I think one of them picked up somebody. There was somebody else involved with this film, but they passed away. I'm not 100% sure on the details for Brush of the God yet, but it looks like the monster for that is gonna be similar to Orochi, I believe is how you pronounce it, the
yeah,
eight-headed dragon. It looks like that's what's gonna be, and I've seen some of the early test footage, and it looks really nice. So I'm excited for that. It's gonna be another spectacle like this.
yeah, no,
That's for sure.
I'm excited for that. Hopefully, it does get released uh, relatively soon. It's a just a movie that got impacted by a pandemic, so
Yeah, I mean it's all
uh,
over the board, unfortunately.
yeah, I think this is supposed to originally come out. I think 2021. So bit of a delay, but it's Japan's been getting hit hard with waves, so it's understandable.
No, 100%, 100%.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, I just think it's definitely worth watching. And if you guys are interested in watching this movie, it is available on SRS Cinema. They did a second run of the Blu-ray because the first one did so well, and it's also available on DVD through SRS Cinema. And if you're not into buying physical media, you can get it, I believe, on Tubi TV and on Amazon Prime.
Yeah. Yep. And I mean, this is one of those SRS releases that's also now sort of upgraded to mass release also. So you could even find this movie at your Best Buy. You could find it on Amazon. I'm not sure if Walmart Walmart might, yeah, Walmart does carry this actually. Yeah, Walmart carries it. You can find it on Amazon also. But I think it's best to buy it from SRS since they're the ones that brought it to the States. And if we want to keep movies like this coming here, I think it's best to support the company that's doing it. And I think SRS should get this should be the your go-to for purchasing this.
Yeah, and plus, at least for me, they're also located in New York. We're in New York, so the shipping is usually pretty good. I think
Yeah, they're pretty good. For me, I think it's just me.
because you're on the
It's not
complete opposite
SRS's
side of the
fault.
state.
It's not SRS's fault. It's the United States Postal Service fault. But
Yeah,
I've had only twice. I've had weird cases where my order just sits at a postal facility here. But I've had that happen with
yeah,
other packages. But
yeah.
their shipping's great, and SRS, they've slowed down a little with the extra goodies. Early on, they used to give a ton of. They used to give you like tons of weird extra things with your DVDs. You'd get like spider rings and like weird knickknacks and stuff. They still give you they give you usually they'll throw in a poster. Not
Yeah,
all the time. Usually for pre-orders, they'll throw in a poster.
yeah.
They
It
still have
depends on
some
how
laying around.
well. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I recently bought Zillafoot, and I got the poster for that. I was pretty
Wow.
surprised.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. That's been out a while. Yeah. So they'll usually send you a poster, and they'll also give you a little usually it's like a two-sided almost like advertisement card that you could stick into the Blu-ray case also. That's like almost like a mini card poster or a card. So they give you a couple little knickknacks. I guess to save on shipping costs too for the buyers. They wanted to reduce throwing in some heavier stuff like physical things. So paper is good. It's light. It's easy to ship. So yeah, the posters are nice. Everyone loves the posters from them, and they get some really nice artists for their cover arts.
Oh,
SRS.
yeah. I mean, even when it's not Matt Frank, it's really good artwork. Like all of
Yes.
them.
Yes.
The only one that I can't figure out who did it was the Utena. I can't see any like labeling as to who did the art.
Yeah, I'm curious. Yeah, that's some great artwork too. Actually, it's a nice looking cover. Like I said, they definitely don't let down on the artwork. They try to get solid artists. So I mean,
Yeah,
it will make your DVD, Blu-ray shelf look nice.
yeah. All right, I think that's good. Basically wraps it up.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Howl from Beyond the Fog, guys. I mean, you pick it up. It's good watch. You'll enjoy it. Quick and easy.
All right, thank you guys for watching. If you liked what you're listening to, why don't you check us out over at anchor.fm/Mazer Squad. This was a clip from our podcast, so we hope you enjoyed it. Bye.